Poison everywhere. No output from your MCP server is safe. Okay, what is this article? First of all, what is MCP? MCP is Model Context Protocol. Okay, right here. It allows an AI or an LLM system to interact with data directly. These kinds of MCP tools are typically tied into a programmer's development environment. So when you're programming, your development environment is going to have a direct connection to an LLM API. As a result of that, you're going to have some JSON that gets sent back and forth between your local development environment where you punch in your code and the server that runs this AI system. This JSON structure, which is just a way to structure configuration data and tell the AI what it needs to understand about the code that it's working with, etc. This JSON structure is capable of being hijacked and manipulated in a variety of different ways. But the summary of it is that you can take any one of these fields. You can take the name field here, you can take the description field here, you can do input schema. Anytime that in your code base you go, I would like for the AI system to read the next 10 lines of code and give me some feedback on whether or not this code is like good, or whatever. This kind of data has to get sent to the AI model, and it says like, you need to read the next 10 lines. Here they are. Give me some feedback on it. Whatever is required to prompt the AI to do the thing that needs to happen in your code, it all happens in here. It's a configuration value that essentially gets structured and sent, and it goes back and forth. And you can prove that this is happening because, well, the researchers here did it. They show literally they have a Wireshark stream. So Wireshark listens to your internet connectivity on your stream, on your machine, and it will show you the inputs and outputs of traffic as it's going out of your machine and coming into your machine via the internet. So you can see that there is JSON data that's being sent back and forth. So that fancy tool that you have on your development environment, like say, Cursor, that's one example, but there are other ones like Visual Studio Code and whatnot. They send this kind of structured data, and this data is then available to be used for prompt injection. What happens is, just as an example, right? So here you go. Let's just take this picture. So this picture probably looks a bit familiar to people who are programming in something like Visual Studio Code. This is just an example. And you will start to manipulate code in your editor, and you might have some plugins. Let's say Visual Studio Code. You've added some plugins or some extensions to Visual Studio Code. One of them is one that ties into, Claude. Another one might be, maybe you're running in Cursor, which is essentially just Visual Studio Code anyways. It doesn't matter. You have 1 or 2 or 3 different types of plugins running to help you integrate AI into your code base or alongside your code base. And so you'd see something like this. Some of these plugins can be used. There isn't yet proof that they are used this way. I don't think this particular article presented proof that they have been used this way. What they did was they attempted to prove that it can be used this way. The tools will literally go and take, let's go back up to the top. Come on. Here we go. They will literally add instructions to the AI system directly into one of these fields. And you're going to not even realize that this is happening because you're not going to be watching the JSON data that comes in and out of your machine as you're coding. Who does that? Who sits there and watches all their network traffic all the time? You're not going to do that. So anybody can create a tool, including even somebody who is say internal, like let's say you're in an organization with a bunch of other programmers, you're all using the same kind of tools, and one of those programmers happens to be a fake North Korean hacker who managed to pass the interview process by deep faking their profile, which is, I'm not even making that up, it sounds ridiculous, but this is happening. And they then poison these tools, these prompts, so that they can extract information out of your code base. Or it's not just code. You can use this exact same kind of model context protocol tool to extract data out of anything else it's plugged into. So if this MCP tool is plugged into, say, a bunch of PDFs that are internal documents, maybe it's a bunch of PowerPoint presentations, maybe it's a bunch of spreadsheets, whatever it is, and you're using it to read that data and provide you feedback, or whatever you're using it for. These things can be easily hijacked, and you wouldn't even know. And any one of those fields, it doesn't matter which one, could be the required field, it could be the description field, it could be any one of them, could have additional prompting text that tells the AI system to read more than it should, to ship data to an external server. So it can take data that it's reading and then just funnel it over to somebody's command and control center server, where they just get all of this information that they shouldn't otherwise have access to. All of these types of communications are absolutely, and they present some evidence on a few things that they tried to get the tools to be poisoned. It didn't take any effort at all. They literally just had to add some instructions to any one of the fields here. All of this stuff can be done under your nose, so to speak. You wouldn't know unless you're watching these tools, whatever it is. You could be using, I don't know, Cursor, Windsurf, OpenCode. It doesn't matter. These things can absolutely leak your information. They can leak secrets, they can leak keys, they can leak anything that they want. And you can see, for example, something like this, they can even be used to make internal calls within the system itself. So depending on where the MCP lives, you can actually hijack this LLM AI system and tell it to make tell it to take internal actions, like making external requests or whatever, that manipulate things or otherwise send information that should never be leaked outside of your own kind of environment. This is one of the things that people don't understand. It's one of many reasons why these AI systems have to be approached from a non-trusted starting point. You should never trust any AI system that you work with for anything. You have to start with the operational mode that it's going to leak all your data. Someone's going to have access to your data. It's never going to tell you the correct thing. It's always going to lie to you or just tell you whatever it thinks it needs to tell you in order to get you to have like a positive feedback. All of these things have to start with a non-trusted mindset. If you do that, then there is some good usage for these AI systems, but it's risky. It's highly risky. And a lot of the security risks that come from using these AI systems include you not even knowing that this is happening.